going to go, we are recording in progress. Okay. So now let's see how we go live on Facebook. Hang on a second, bear with me, because it's just going to do some wordy things in the background. So I'm going to call it Lulu's Sugar Journey. If I've spelled that right. I want to share it in my group. So this is just going to be before I actually...
before you press it, should I put something on the door of my office?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because I really like to keep it casual. I'm like you know, if my boys come in, I'll just tell them to, in the loving way, to not go away, like to go away because I'm on a live. Yeah. Let's just keep it. This doesn't need to be. I'm not worried about this being professionally perfect. This is just us chatting. So yeah, if you get interrupted, that's life, isn't it? So we're going to do Lulu's Sugar Journey. I'm doing it in Get Control of Your Sugar Cravings into my group. Let's go live. How are we looking? Let's do it. I never quite know how it then actually works. Preparing to live stream in the meeting. Okay.
Go for it.
Let's see what happens. So I am recording. It's whirling around. I think we are now live. This meeting is being streamed live. Got it. Brilliant. Hello. So, Lulu, thank you for today. Hello.
Hello.
So we're just going to have a very informal, a really relaxed chat about your sugar journey. But what I'm just going to start off by saying is, it's really funny because I've known you now for quite a few years, actually, haven't I? More sort of intimately, I would say, in the last sort of 2 or 3 years, because we worked together. Yes. And just before you came on, I got really nervous. I find that really funny because, like, you would think the people you know better are going to be easier, but what I sometimes do this in my presentations and start off with the fact that, like, right now I'm experiencing nerves, and the emotion of nervousness is classed as a negative emotion, right? And for me, I can feel it. It's like a pit in my stomach, and like my hands, I feel like my hands want to flap. And bizarrely, like this part of this muscle feels tense. I don't know why this muscle, because it's not like I work it out or anything. And the reason I always point this out to people is because we can experience a negative emotion. Nothing bad is actually happening right now. You know, the world isn't swallowing me up. I'm not about to implode. Like, we can experience negative emotions. And when we bring that back to sugar, the craving and the urge for sugar is a negative emotion. So when we learn to process that, we learn that experiencing it is actually no big deal. Just like me feeling nervous and looking at me, you would think I was quite calm. That is me allowing nerves. Whereas if I was trying to resist it, I would probably be a bit like this and a bit rigid. Or if I was reacting to it, I'd be going, oh my God, I don't know what to say, and I'm going to jump around and I'm going to speak real fast. So we don't want to ever do either of those with our desire and our urges for anything. Actually, we can just simply like breathe it in, recognize it in our body, allow it to be there, knowing it's fine, and then we can move forward with a logical response. How do we want to behave? So I always like to point that out to people, because I think it's quite a good way of describing and noticing how a negative emotion feels, and the urge and desire for sugar is just a negative emotion. So do you want to start by telling us a little bit about you and a little bit about your journey before we started the program? Like, what were you like?
Absolutely. So my before starting anything to do with life coaching or the program or kicking sugar out into touch, it was all really about my bad habits. For me, is I had a really weird relationship with sugar, in the fact that I just thought that I needed it. So I thought I was one of those women, like lots of other women out there, that I need my sugar, I have a sweet tooth, and I must have a little bit of chocolate or a little bit of ice cream or a little bit of something sugary each day, whether that's 3 o'clock in the afternoon generally or in the evening. I just felt I could nobody really understood that I could never go without sugar, and I couldn't go without it. And actually, whenever I had a diet or anything like that, it was always about, as long as I can have something and really like an amount of it, the sugar and the sweet treats, then I'll be fine. And, I'm constantly trying to diet, constantly trying to lose weight, knowing that sugar was my biggest downfall. I'm not really into crisps and other bits and pieces. It was definitely the sugar was my major thing. So that was before I did this. I was like, I'd really like to stop feeling like I have to have it.
Yes. Yeah. So had you tried anything before in order to kind of get control of your...
Oh God, absolutely. I've done so many different diets before, and some of them have been quite effective because I'm quite determined. And so when I stick to something and I put my mind to it, I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I've had some really good results. So one of my main things was I wanted to lose weight, and I have had success at losing weight before, either through healthier lifestyle or running. But in dieting, I've always wanted to check what I'm allowed in terms of sugar. So as long as I'm allowed sugar, as long as I can have my certain points of sugar or my certain chocolate bars or my certain something, I can survive. So even though I have dieted, it was always about, well, what am I allowed, rather than choices. It was like, well, how much can I have? How many bars am I allowed? What is the amount? And I'll make a big thing of it. So it was always about the sugar. And I did lose weight, but again, it didn't really feel like it lasted, because it was for a season. It was like a diet and a 12 weeks, and I lose a stone and then I'd put it back on, or I'd, do something, and then I was still eating so much sugar, which I then just felt guilty about all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So coming then on to like the 6-week program, because we had coached together for about a year before you went through specifically that 6 weeks, didn't you, with me?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about the 6 weeks before we started?
What I thought was it would be like a diet. When I first started, I thought this will help me with my sugar cravings, and that's it. And that's what I want to achieve. And I would like to lose some weight. So that was before doing the program. I knew it worked because you and I have, done we've worked through some other life coaching things, and I knew it worked. But actually, specifically for the sugar, I thought, yeah, I'll do the course. It will be successful. But I didn't realize, I think, perhaps the full effect of it on my lifestyle and going forward.
Yeah. Interesting. So we'll come on to the effects of the rest of your life, but tell me then, how did you experience those 6 weeks? What did you think was the most impactful for you?
I think I really actually felt that I was putting time into something that I really wanted. And therefore I found it an exciting challenge. I didn't ever find it a task or a chore. I have sometimes found diets to be a bit of a chore, because you've got to plan ahead, you've got to buy the right shopping in, you've got to resist things. Whereas this was like a program built entirely for Lulu. So it was all about how I wanted to approach things. I had tools, I had you've done some sort of podcasts and different things to help with it, and some programs. But also I felt it was so personalized that it was working on me. And so the 6 weeks was quite an exciting 6 weeks to see what I could achieve and see what I learned about myself.
Yeah. And how did you find experiencing the urges? Because they are, to begin with, uncomfortable.
I think when people are real about things, I think that's when it's really helpful. So actually talking about the urges, rather than saying, oh, well, after 7 days, I never want chocolate again. It's so amazing. It's, it's brilliant. It's actually saying out loud, well, I seem to really want this, or I have this urge. What is going on in my body? What's happening to me? Why am I thinking like that? And actually recognizing that when you talk about it, like you said at the beginning, you can realize that, oh, this is how I respond to wanting sugar, or this is how my mind works around fancying a bar of chocolate. And it's actually just almost stepping outside of yourself and going, oh, that's really interesting, that's what you do, and learning. So it's actually like learning about yourself rather than restricting yourself. So I just felt that it was a really practical journey.
Brilliant. And then, so how has it impacted the rest of your life?
So for me, it's a whole different ball game now when it comes to lots of things. But if we're looking at sugar, particularly sugar and diet, it's actually like I enjoy my life so much more. One of the problems with feeling I had a sugar addiction, or feeling like I need chocolate or I must do this, was the way it made me feel after I'd had it. So I'll enjoy it for the few seconds, but then afterwards I just feel guilty, or I feel like, oh, I've put on weight, or I'd feel like, oh, well, I've blown it now, so I might as well have some more, or I can't stop, or, it's just like, it's a really rubbish cycle that just goes on and on. Now, I don't have the same relationship with sugar at all. And actually, I really enjoy when I choose to have something, I choose to have it. So I can still go into a cafe that's full of cakes and full of gorgeous things and go, that's my choice. And I'm actually really going to enjoy that. And I'm going to see it as a real lovely choice. And I never feel guilty. I never feel guilty after sugar anymore. And so that is the biggest change.
Yeah. And I think that's really important as well, is that recognizing that as humans, we are wired to enjoy the sweet taste. There are some people in the world that don't like it. Not really sure. Well, my brother's one of them, actually. He doesn't.
Oh, really? Is he more a savoury person?
Yeah, I'm like, how does that work? But yeah, as humans, we are wired. So I think a lot of people might look at what I'm offering and go, then I'm never going to eat sugar again.
That's just not true. Yeah.
Yeah, and that might be the case for some people. But actually, it's about getting to that point in your life where you can have a slice of cake, you can go to the cafe and have a bit of brownie, really enjoy it, and then drop all the judgy crap afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. And also, it's sort of like you can enjoy it, but equally, the taste of certain things, I won't waste my time eating things that just it's just mindless eating. I'll actually really enjoy it. And other things taste better when you do start to realize that actually sugar and synthetic tastes and things like that are actually, you got so used to eating them, you've stopped enjoying really nice natural things or natural sweetness and stuff. So yeah,
I think, and that is really key as well. Over that sort of 6 weeks, your taste buds do change. So then when you have even pepper, a sweet pepper tastes really good. But if you've just eaten a Mars bar, that pepper is going to taste like shit. And so that's I always find that really fascinating. And then what I've noticed as well, and let me know what you think about this, is I've noticed now that those so chocolate buttons and squashies used to be like my go-to.
Yeah.
And I actually don't like the taste of them. That is too sweet. And I'm like, blows my mind.
It's such a bizarre thing, because I actually never thought I'd be saying this, honestly, is you're absolutely right. It doesn't bother me anymore. I'm not fussed by it. I don't actually sit there and go mindlessly eat a bag. I might have one or two, but again, I get really I'm over it. Whereas actually I do enjoy the taste of other things. So there are things I would much rather now genuinely go into the fridge and have a piece of cold pineapple and enjoy that sweetness and go, oh, that's so sweet, it's lovely, it's a bit of a treat. The chocolate and stuff, because again, it hasn't got the same connections to me, and I just don't fancy it. There's so many foods out there that they taste good, and actually chocolate's just not one of them. It's totally psychosomatic, the way that you think chocolate's amazing. It's actually a very brown, hard, it does melt, and but it actually, when you look at it, it's a solid weird mass that melts in your mouth, but it doesn't have the flavor of other foods, definitely not.
And I think as well, when we think of chocolate, we think of like the dairy milks, and that actually has very little cocoa in it, cacao, whatever, however you want to, that is all sugar. So I think if you get a really good quality sort of dark chocolate, that can be a pleasant, nourishing experience.
Absolutely. And there's loads of things. Again, it's just exploring different foods.
Yeah, that's it. But it is really interesting how, and yeah, to hear you say, I'm actually not bothered. Because you wanted at the start to not have to have it, and now here you are.
I wouldn't eat now a whole bag of dairy milk buttons, whereas before I probably could have absolutely smashed two or three of an evening, or watching a film and things. And now I know I wouldn't. I just wouldn't do it, you know.
Yeah, which is incredible, isn't it? So how has that affected your weight? Like, if you don't mind sharing, how
well, I've lost well over a stone. So I think what was really lovely about it was I did want to lose weight. I do have a goal that I'm not yet at, but also because I know I'm going to get to that goal, because life coaching and the way it's made me manage my mind and my own expectations of myself, it's just slowly dropping off. So I've lost over a stone. I feel so much better in clothes. I've actually bought some new clothes recently because I just I feel better in what I'm wearing. So that's good. That's amazing. All because of sort of kicking the sugar habit. But also I'm just slowly losing weight without feeling like I'm on a diet, or I'm not eating sugar, or I'm not doing anything. It's literally now my mindset and the way I live is helping me get to my goal. And I've got a little bit of a way to go, but I know it's coming off. So I'm happier knowing that, because of the choices I'm making around sugar particularly, that actually I'm heading into the direction of me feeling at my happiest, because it was the goal I had. So yeah, that's good.
And that is far more sustainable, isn't it? For
totally.
Totally,
because it's a lifestyle now, and it's certainly not restrictive. In fact, I'm cooking more, I'm doing more with food, I'm excited about the choices I'm making. And also I do think that when you get into a habit with white sugar, you tend to go through the same food patterns and you buy the same foods, because actually your goal is to get to the sugar at the end, or the chocolate after dinner, or the pudding, or the dessert, or the whatever. Whereas now I'm focusing on my meal times. I'm focusing on the ingredients that I'm buying for food and for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, the fuel that I'm putting in. I know it's doing me good. So actually, even in terms of my actual health, it's all better. So yeah, it's definitely sustainable, and that's it now. I wouldn't want to go back to the Lulu that started with you before in terms of my sugar, because I was just literally unhappy with it and guilty all the time.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I think I've probably covered most of the questions that I had down to ask you. I did actually put down here, you actually went through the program over Christmas, didn't you? So
I was going to say a major part of mind transformation when I was working through this with you was challenging myself, because there was always a blooming event to go to, or I was going over to a friend's, or I can't do it this weekend because I've got a birthday, or I can't, I've got Christmas coming up, so I really, I'll pause that for them. When you actually start understanding the way your mind works around food, it is so irrelevant what the circumstances are. So you could be going to the House of Cakes, or you could be going to a big party where there's going to be lots of alcohol, lots of sweets, lots of everything, or Christmas, and you apply yourself in the same way. And I went through Christmas. I loved Christmas in terms of the food I ate, because I got to choose things. It was a bit of a weird year because we were all in lockdown. So it was a bit of a rubbishy Christmas anyway, I would say, for many people. But food choices, I knew exactly what I wanted and I planned them, and then I really looked forward to them. And actually, when it came to it, I don't think I had one of my desserts, because by that point I actually felt full and I didn't really fancy it. So it wasn't the mindless eating of boxes of Quality Street this year. It wasn't like loads of chocolate for no reason. And actually, I came out of Christmas having lost weight, and I'd eaten and I'd enjoyed Christmas food, but I hadn't put on weight. I didn't have to go into that January detox, kickstart, start a diet. I was literally just going through like any other time. And that's made a big difference, is actually viewing events and planning ahead.
Yeah. And I think as well, we can take those experiences and use them as learning. So like we had the first sort of family gathering a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, right, this is really my first big moment to really put everything into practice. And so I did my planning ahead of time. I knew, I sort of did the mental rehearsal about what I thought my brain was going to do. And so then actually I was excited to go into that challenge, because now I'm really going to apply the skills that I've learned. So sometimes those situations can actually be really good learning opportunities, even if you do have a bucket moment. You can learn from that, and that's then going to grow you on further for the next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's
and
just
like
planning.
Yeah, that's it. And like you said, there is always something, isn't there? Our brain is always going to give us an excuse why.
It always says, you'll have to wait till the first of the month, or please wait till Monday, or I'm going to start next week. That's just
it's the way it works. Cool. So what would you say to someone who was sort of on the fence, thinking, I'm not really sure, but is this something I want to do? What would you say to them?
There's a couple of things that I've really learned through approaching sugar with life coaching, is that it's not a diet, so it's not going to end. So your results will be ongoing after this, and actually start to help you make positive choices in other parts of your life. I think also sometimes people think of things and they go, I don't want to pay for that because I know how to be healthy and all the rest of it. But actually the investment in yourself is the most important investment you can ever make, because it allows you to be the best version of you, or certainly head towards being the version of you you've always wanted to work on being. And actually at the end of it, I kind of think everyone should do it, just to understand the way our relationship is, not just with sugar and food, but just to understand the way your own brain works. And I don't think diets give you that. I don't think books give you that, really. I think actually talking personally about yourself with someone in a non-judgmental environment, and understanding scientifically how your brain works is brilliant. It's like actually just learning. It's brilliant.
Awesome. Well, that's kind of all I was going to ask you about. Was there anything that you wanted? Was there anything extra that we've missed out that you wanted to say at all?
I just think that if you're, especially after lockdown, and everybody's sort of assessing how they're going to come out of this lockdown and how we're going to be, I think people's lives have changed. I think people have suffered in lots of different ways, maybe with mental health or, diets. Some people have been uber healthy. Some people have, really found that it's been a really tough time. I would say doing something like this and kick-starting a fresh new challenge that actually will go on to challenge other areas of your life. And, it's something you can keep doing. I just think everyone should do it. So anyone I know has the same. All my girlfriends would say they'd have the same thing with chocolate or food or sugar or alcohol or whatever it is that it is, and I just think if you want it to work, it's worth investing in for yourself, just for no one else, just for yourself. And the results are brilliant. So I recommend it totally.
Thank you. And I think a lot of people might look at it and go, it's just sugar, I don't want to invest in just sugar. But this is so much more. Like, it's your relationship with yourself. It's the respect you have for yourself. And I feel now that if the fact that I've gotten control of my sugar cravings, I'm like, what else can I do? What else is possible? Because I thought that was impossible last year.
Well, that's it. And I put that at the end of everything. I feel I can achieve anything as a result of the life coaching, because it's about your mind and anything you put your mind to. And you hear about that when you're younger. It's like, oh, you can do anything you want or you can put your mind to. We sort of forget that, I think, as you get older or life happens. And it's just reminding yourself that you can achieve anything. And if you can stop something like this, or you can challenge your own cravings for sugar, you can literally go on to put your mind to other things you want to achieve. Definitely.
Yeah, that's it. And another thing as well, I always like to kind of point out is that as a society generally, excuse me, we're happy to invest in a car or in a house or in a holiday that we think is going to make us happy. I have to go on holiday, it will make me happy. And yes, while you're there for those 2 weeks, it is amazing. I love going on holiday, but that isn't sustainable for the rest of your life. Whereas investing in your mind and investing in your mental fitness, in your mental state, is sustainable for the rest of your life.
And it will make all those experiences feel different. They won't be the reason you're happy. It will be because you're happy you can make those choices and enjoy them. Whereas actually, if you're doing anything because it's going to make you happy, what I realized was that's just rubbish.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, I have really enjoyed talking to you, Lulu. Thank you so much.
Vicky.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So I'm going to end the call. I still don't quite know how to end the live bit and not the call. So if I cut you off, I'll see you on Sunday.
Okay. All right, then. See you then. Thanks,
yeah,
Vicky.
but if not, then we'll carry on chatting. But thank you, everybody else. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.